The Zarathustrian Nietzsche, Sils Maria, 1881. Irzas ish wartend, dolkas nichts, jenseits van gut und böse, bald des Lichts, genießend bald des Schattens ganz Spiel, ganz Mittag, ganz Zeit ohne Ziel. Da plötzlich, Freundin, werde ein so wei, und Zarathustra ging an mir vorbei. The German philosopher Friedrich Wilhelm Nietzsche, 1884 through 1900, is perhaps the best known in pop culture as the man who said God is dead and who coined the term Superman. He is much more than that. And in fact, his ideas transformed the world in many ways and on a variety of levels. His most famous work was entitled Also sprach Zarathustra, Thus Spoke Zarathustra, 1883. This automatically piques our interest and makes us wonder whether any Muslim principles can be found in the works of this philosopher. Some who have studied this question in the past have come to the conclusion that Nietzsche only used this persona to express his almost prophetic ideas in a rather iconic way. This interpretation is supported by Nietzsche's own writings. As we will see shortly, however, a deep level understanding of both the ideas of Nietzsche and the Mazdan tenets reveal a somewhat different story. Beyond this, also, certain facts pertaining to the development of Nietzsche's life indicate an intimate connection with the 19th century philosopher and the ancient Iranian prophet. It is perhaps telling of a deeper, even esoteric, truth that Nietzsche himself said that the philosophical career was transformed when Zarathustra passed him by, as expressed in 1881 poem entitled Sils Maria, quoted at the beginning of this essay. Nietzsche tells us something of his attitude towards Zarathustra in his autobiographical work Ecce Homo, 1888, in section 3 of the essay entitled Why I Am a Destiny. There he writes, I have not been asked, and I should not have been asked, what the name Zarathustra means in my mouth, the mouth of the first immortalist, for what constitutes the tremendous historical uniqueness of that Persian is just the opposite of this. Zarathustra was the first to consider the fight between good and evil, the very will in the machinery of things, the transposition of morality into the metaphysical realm as a force, cause, and end in itself, in his work. But this question itself is at the bottom of its own answer. Zarathustra created the most calamitous error, morality. Consequently, he must also be the first to recognize it. Not only has he more experience in this matter for a longer time than any other thinker, after all, the whole of history is the refutation by experiment of the principle of the so-called moral order. What is more important is that Zarathustra is more truthful than any other thinker. His doctrine, and his alone, posits truthfulness as the highest virtue. This means opposite of cowardice of the idealist who flees from reality. Zarathustra has more intestinal fortitude than all other thinkers taken together to speak the truth and shoot well with arrows. That is the Persian virtue. Am I understood? The self-overcoming of morality out of truthfulness, the self-overcoming of the moralist into his opposite, into me. That is what the name Zarathustra means in my mouth. Translation of Walter Kaufmann, pages 327 through 328. Nietzsche's visionary period spanned from August of 1881, when he received the vision of the eternal return on a walk by the lake Silvaplana, near Sils Maria in Switzerland, to January of 1881, when he becomes either insane or divine in Turin, Italy. After this time, he referred to himself with a variety of divine epithets, including Dionysius the Crucified and Apollo. Among his last works, the Antichrist, 1881, which was full-force frontal attack on Christianity. In an early section of the book, he writes, what is good? Everything that heightens the feeling of power in man, the will to power, power itself. What is bad? Everything that is born of weakness. What is happiness? The feeling that power is growing. Their resistance is overcome. Not contentedness, but more power. Not peace, war, not virtue, but fitness, renaissance virtue, virtue that is morally free. The weak and failures will perish, first principles of our love of man, and they shall be given every possible assistance. What is more harmful than any vice? Act of pity for all the failures and all the weak Christianity. On the one hand, his attack on conventional morality is clear, but on the other hand, he does also clearly have an idea of good as opposed to the bad. Nietzsche's robust attack on the weak, ineffective, and powerless in life has clear echoes in the Moslem sense of discipline as applied to the Magavans and Atravans of the system. His attitude of being without compassion for the weak and poor is, of course, not supported by Moslem philosophy, but even there, the prophet of Sils Maria might defend himself by saying he likes compassion out of a sense of kindness, for he says that this compassion or pity, German Mitleid, is akin to a deadly disease which kills both the object and the subject of such emotion. The comprehensive philosophy of Nietzsche is too complex to discuss extensively in this essay because of the visionary and poetic style in which he wrote. Many different interpretations of his words are often possible. His cosmology appears to have been focused entirely within the world of Diesseitigkeit, this-sidedness. Perhaps most mysterious of Nietzsche's ideas is the doctrine of eternal recurrence, ewige Wiederkehr. It was this idea which he himself thought was the essence of his teaching. Three ideas, the will to power, the overman, and eternal recurrence, are bound together in a triad. Recurrence is the law. Will is the method, and the overman the aim. Nietzsche saw himself and those who would understand him as Hyperboreans, those of ultimate north, one separated from the rest of humanity by their characters. They are the Übermenschen, overmen, those who have overcome by going under. See, thus spoke Zarathustra, Prologue 1. Nietzsche's philosophy is based on the force of the empowerment of the individual will or consciousness. It is a philosophy of this-sidedness. It is the individual ego, which is to empower its own will in order to become the Übermensch, the evolution into Overman, the virtual self-deification that takes place under the direction of the will, essential to the technique of Nietzsche's active philosophy of the Umwertung aller Werte, the reevaluation of all values. This virtually defines a modern school of secular antinomianism instituted for the sake of the evolution of the will into a unique and potent entity.